USA have kicked off their World Cup campaign, I'd say underwhelmingly. I enjoyed watching them, but then Wales and Kiefer Moore and Gareth Bale did what they do. And USA have ended up in a situation where they probably leave that game thinking, we could have done with winning that. I've got a stat here, which I don't actually agree with, but it said you have an 84% chance of progressing to the knockouts if you win the first match of the group stage. Now, the stat is absolutely correct. Why I don't agree with it is because in that game, you leave that sort of game going, USA still have a chance, but it's England next. And there is a separate video where we talk about England against USA. But USA, have they blown it?
No. I think they would have now look at the Iran game and say we have to better whatever Wales do in their respective game. That's how they're going to look at it. The England game is a free hit. And I'm telling you, the only reason why they say look at it as a free hit is because I spoke to Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson literally 2 weeks before they left. And they just said the amount of attention and people that have been asking them for the last, let's say, month or so about how you feeling about that game, England? How you feeling this? And they both just look so calm. I mean, naturally, they give that American persona, which is cool, calm and collected. They've been there, they've done it, they've understood. But this is both of their first World Cup campaigns. And I just thought the energy that they gave me let me know that they know something. As if, like, we can go into that England game and the pressure isn't on us. The pressure historically will always be England versus USA. England has to dominate, right? The mother nation, we are the home of football, we're this and we're that. But at the end of the day, this USA team have been collating and collaborating and gaining information and more than anything else, gaining momentum for the better part of a decade. They've been coming to Europe. They've been doing what they need to do. A lot of those players now we're looking at are playing in the Premier League. They understand what's required. They're not playing against players they don't know. And I genuinely, I've said it over and over again, and I will say it. I do think the USA will get a result against England.
Oh, I was agreeing with everything you're saying. The energy.
I was with me right to the end.
And then you said that, you dropped that bombshell. I'm not having that. What I will say about this USA team, you said about the energy that Aronson gave you when you met him, but the energy that they displayed on the pitch is the biggest defining factor of what they do. They were buzzing in and around Josh Sargent, dropping inside midfield, adding an extra body. It just meant that they outmanned Wales in the midfield, and they had more about them. I don't know if they can do that against England. I think England have just got way more about them. But I am excited about this USA team. It's a new dawn. And obviously, we see a lot of these players playing over in Europe. We see some of them playing in the Premier League. Obviously, Jesse Marshall's in the Premier League. I like what they're doing there, and I feel like it's the beginning or the dawn of a new age of US football. There's no over-reliance on Christian Pulisic, who of course got the assist for the Timothy Weah goal. What a goal, by the way, by Timothy Weah, like really embodying that surname. I've seen George Weah clips on YouTube countless times. That's my dad's favourite player, and that finish from him was classy, and it was a good assist from Pulisic. But they no longer rely on Pulisic to be their main man. He's not even their captain anymore. Tyler Adams is their captain. All of their play comes from the midfield area. I just worry about them defensively. They've got a couple of liabilities in the back line, but they're impressive. I just do not see them beating England.
I didn't say beat. I said result. Make that part clear first of all. But what I will tell
that's very safe. I can't lie. Yeah, it's very safe.
Okay, well, you want me to? I'll put my neck out here.
Put your neck out there.
It's going to be a 1-1 draw, and let me explain why. Because within these games, a lot of it is about industry. We've noticed that in the first round of fixtures, how many the teams that have done well, the teams that have either dominated the ball or the teams that have worked harder than their opponents. I don't see many teams that are going to work harder than the USA. Everybody is an athlete. We can talk about from Musa to Tyler Adams to McKinney, all of those guys in the midfield, they are workhorses. And we spoke earlier about having that dog, right? We said it. The USA have got a chip on their shoulder. They are sick and tired, and this is quotation coming from two of their players in the camp. They're sick and tired of the narrative that these guys can't play football. Bro, as they would turn around and say to me, we've been playing a long time. We've been understanding how European football works. We've got the technical aspect. We're now developing the tactical aspect. And the physical aspect has never, ever been away from any US team. Tell me why they can't go out there and, as you would say, outman England.
I just don't think they have enough about them. I just think if you look at the midfield of Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Mason Mount, or if you switch in Phil Foden, I just don't think the USA has enough to deal with those players, not just athletically, but technically as well. And that's where the game will be won for England if when they do play USA and when they do beat USA. You're speaking like you're American, though.
I'm not.
You didn't check your passport.
I got some ties there, went to school there, shout out Arizona, but no affiliation. British born, love it. Okay. But I'm just making it clear. I can only judge from what I see.
How much of a failure do you think it would be if USA didn't make it out of this group? Because if you look at this group, England beat Iran 6-2. England will play Wales in that last group stage game. The fixtures actually have fallen nicely for USA because, as you said, if they lose to England, they still have a chance because they play Iran. And from what we know from Wales, Wales are not going to turn up and beat Iran 5-0. It might be a 1-0. It might be a 2-1. A maximum a 2-goal difference. I've said that now, it's going to be 6-0. And then USA have to go against Iran and just have to better that result. So in a way, USA fans will be sat there thinking, we've got a real chance. But if they don't make it out of this group, I feel like you've got a lot of affiliations with Americans. I feel they're going to be very disappointed.
I think they would look at themselves as very disappointed in terms of if they don't make it out of the group in minimum final 16, because they would look at it and think to themselves, well, the Wales performance, as we've all identified, they were arguably, let's say for 60 minutes at least, the better team in that. They might have blown out in terms of steam towards the end, and maybe the tactical adjustments, and we can speak about the elements of class that we know that Wales have in individual spurts, but they would have learned from that game. If you don't learn from these experiences in terms of being able to dominate games for longer than 60 minutes and then being able to come here and impose your style onto fixtures, then what are we doing here? And I always say, like, take it right from the top. The person who's running this whole men's football setup understands the English game better than most in terms of Brian McKnight. So it's Brian McBride. So he understands. Brian McKnight is, of course, the R&B singer. Brian McBride. And
he might be involved, you never know.
He understands in terms of from his time at Fulham and his time within the rest of Europe, what it takes in terms of to adjust and to play against an English team and to, more importantly, impose yourself into a game.
I get that, and I get it in terms of like a macro view on it in terms of US football. I just don't see them having a player that will give you that moment. And football,
You just
especially
said Timothy Weah a second ago.
Yeah, but that was a great goal. That was a great goal. But in terms of progressing through the group and progressing in this tournament, Gareth Bale will give Wales that moment.
Okay.
I don't see Christian Pulisic being that guy to give them that moment in the clutch. I just don't see it. I don't see it for them. They're a great team. They've got great players, and maybe in a couple of years when they do develop that superstar who will give them that World Cup moment, we'll have a different conversation. But as currently constructed, they ain't getting out of the group.
Are they getting out of the group?
I think they are getting out of the group. I do think they better, in terms of as a scoreline, what Wales will hopefully look to do against Iran, and I think they could probably better that because of their prowess going forward. That's more than anything else. The flair and the pace that they have going forward. Looking at that Iran fixture, they struggled with anything that was going in behind them, and I think that really suits the USA game.
All right, let us know in the comments. Are USA making out of the group?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.